After you create a new album and save it, the software brings you every time to this panel, the Import Organize panel. So, in this tutorial you'll get to see the various ways you can import images in Easy Digital Album, and organizing them in groups. You'll also learn how to apply color labels to your images. So, let's talk about the importing of images first. On the top bar of the Images panel, there are two buttons, the Import Folder and the Import Images button. You could click on either of them to import folders of images, or select images from a folder as their name implies. But there is another way to get to the same commands in Easy Digital Album. You can go up to the Image menu, and choose Import Folder, or Import Images from there. And finally, there is a third way that has been implemented, in the latest versions of EDA, to import images from a folder in your PC. Just open the folder you want and drag the images in the Images panel. Now, let's go overhead and do all the three ways that we talked about. Let's bring a folder of images first. I'll click on the Import Folder button. The Browse for Folder dialog appears. I will navigate to the folder I want to import, select it and press the OK button. The first time that you import images you'll get this Images warning message box. It says that your images are being imported by reference and they should not be modified, or moved from the current location, before you finish the album and export your pages. If you don't want it to appear every time, just check on the Don't Show Again checkbox. It's going to take some time to import your images, especially if your folder contains hundreds of images, in a big resolution. Okay, it didn't take that long. I have imported 117 images as I can see here. If I select an image, I can see that the resolution is 3648 by 5472 pixels, which is about a 20 megapixel camera. All these images become a group, as you can see, with the name EDA, which is the name of the folder that I imported. Now, if I double-click on an image, the layout of the panel changes to the viewer mode. I now have a big preview of my image on the top, and the thumbnails of my images at the bottom. I also have a digital loop in the preview panel, to check the sharpness of my images. Press the left or right key on your keyboard to navigate to the next or previous image. To exit the viewer mode and return to the normal layout, just press the N key on your keyboard. Let's check now the Import Images function. If I go and click on the Import Images button at this time, the images that will be imported will be added to the current group of images. If that's that you want, it's okay. But I want to import my images in a separate group. To do that, I go to the Groups button and click once to create a new group. I'll give it a name by right-click on it and select Rename. I will write Nick and Jenny and press Enter. With that group selected, I click on the Import Images button and select the images I want to import. It's going to take some time. Okay. The images have been imported and now I have two groups. The first is called EDA and contains 117 images, and the second is Nick and Jenny and contains 53 images. As you can see, some of the images in this group have color labels and ratings already from another application. EDA recognizes both the color labels and ratings you have applied to any other application. That can be very useful when it's time to create your layouts, because you can filter your images, and make it easier to find your best images, or the ones you have chosen already to include in the album. Now, even if some of the images have color labels, you can modify them in EDA, and change their color labels. Also, you can add color labels to the images that you want to include in your layouts, so you can more easily find them when creating the layouts. Let's go overhead and do both. Let's double-click on an image to enter the viewer mode. Okay, I like this image. That's okay also, and I also like this one. This image though, I don't really like the framing and I don't want to include it in the same group of images in my layout. So I will remove its color label by pressing the 0 key on the keyboard. Okay, now it doesn't have a color label anymore. Now, let's add some color labels to some other images. Let's check this series here. Okay, I like this one. To add a color label, I press from the numeric keys on the keyboard, the 1 for red, 2 for yellow, 3 for green, 4 for blue, and 5 for purple. I'll add the same label to this one, this also, and to the last one of the series. OK. Now if I come to the Create Export panel and use the filtering tool to filter the images by color label and click on the purple, I only see these images. I drag them on the page and I have a great looking layout already. Maybe, all I have to do is just swap these two images, and that looks great. And finally, let's see the last method to import images in EDA. I'll make a new group again, and I'll give it a name. I open the folder with the images I want to import and simply drag them in the software. And that completes this tutorial.